All right, let's move forward to the classical music. So this is the same chapter when classical music meets pop songs. And we will talk about the European culture in classical period, the characteristics of classical music, which will include those three composers such as Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. So let's talk about the society of the 7th to 18th centuries European country. So during this time, let's talk about the social environment. The nobility fell from prosperity. 贵族开始瓦解. And then comes the rise of the common people. 那中产阶级就崛起了. And also we have the Enlightenment movement in the European society, which affect religions, politics, society, economy in Europe. Then let's talk about the artist situation during the time. So in Baroque period, those musicians or artists, they are employed by nobility. The works produced according to the needs of nobility. However, in the classical period, those artists, they left the aristocracy and becoming an independent musicians, 变成独立音乐人. So they can create freely, just like our independent singers and bands in Taiwan, such as 美秀集团 or 大象体操. So those groups, they do not belong to a record companies. Instead, they could make the music independently. Okay. The classical period is the mainstream in European country. It was beginning in 1750, the year of Bach's death. So we were talking about the Beethoven, but Beethoven's late works, he was trying to across two style. So he belongs to the classical period in the earlier year. However, in the late years, his style changed to more like romantic. Okay. And the classic in Latin means a person belong to the tax-paying class, which means 中产阶级，有缴税的人. It also means orderly. The architecture is a symmetrical design, 对称的. Doors and windows are evenly distributed, 是非常均匀去分布的. And they have the extensive use of classical columns, less decorations, 比较少装饰，那就是很多那种古典式的建筑. So they're pursuing the order. So the proportions are precisely calculated. Make sure it is harmonious. 好，那它就会很精密的去计算它的比例. It symbolizes the democracy, rationality, and civic pride of enlightenment. 好，那它也象征着整个民主啊、理性啊，还有市民骄傲，这个启蒙运动所产生的这些效应. Commonly seen in governmental buildings and public monuments. For example, such as like French Triumphal Arch, 法国的凯旋门. The art of the classical period, identified with ancient Greece and Rome, followed Aristotelian rationality. 他们是追溯到这种古希腊罗马，那就重视理性. So their styles is more simple, calm, and solemn. 比较简单的. They are suing the balance and rational. So those artists, they are no longer employed by the church or court nobles. And by the way, the government, they will hold like large annual exhibitions, so which means those artworks can go to the markets. So you could show in public and they will have someone to buy your works. So you could earn those money, okay? And there are two famous works such as Napoleon crossing the Alps and coronation of the Holy Emperor Napoleon and his empress, okay? Next, we're going to talk about the music characteristics. So the classical period, they search for like simple, bright, and balanced. And compared to the Baroque period is more gorgeous, it's decorated, more complicated. And after classical period, we have the Romantic period. It's more focused on the personal feelings, emotions. 好，那浪漫派时期就更诉求的就是个人。巴洛克时期是比较华丽的，那古典就是比较均衡的。So we have the major and minor keys system in this period. And the purpose of making the music is to entertain the audience. So the music is mostly lighthearted and cheerful. We have those common genres such as dance, suite, opera, sonata, concerto, and the symphony. Okay, so these are the music features of the classical period, the tonic music. So it focuses on the main melody and the accompaniment. So as for the accompaniment, they will use a Bertie bass, which is the broken chord. So they will have a da 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 instead of the whole chord. Okay, they will have broken chord. And then we have the absolute music, which is using the genre and work number as the name of the title. So for example, Mozart Symphony number 14, they got this genre, symphony, and also the opus number. OK， 好，这个叫绝对音乐，就是它用曲种跟它的编号来命名，这个是 absolute music. And it is different from the program music of the Romantic era. 好，那在浪漫派时期比较讲究的就是要标题音乐 ，so they have the certain words like raindrop, dog, revolution. Those are called the program music. They have the title. Okay, so in this period, they set up the sonata and symphony form, and then the piano replaced harpsichord. So those are three major composers. They have this public concerts, so they can sell the ticket and earn the money. So they publish, also they can publish their own scores to make a living. So Beethoven, who is the first musician to earn money by being a musician. So it's more objective and rational, and also come with a little bit like implicit expression 好，所以会是比较偏理智的，然后会情感上比较含蓄一点。Okay, so the phrases are short and emphasis on symmetry，讲究这个对称。So this is Vienna's score. Vienna is the music capital of the time. We have Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. They all live here. So Vienna is one of the most important cities in music history. Vienna. So let's talk about Haydn first, who was known as the father of the symphony, father of the string quartet, Papa Haydn. 交响曲之父、弦乐四重奏之父，还有海顿爸爸。He was born on April Fool's Day. 愚人节出生。He grew up in a poor family. His father was a wheelwright and mother was a chef. 爸爸是工匠，妈妈是厨师。So the first half of life was very difficult, and the second half of his life was highly respected. 早期是比较潦倒的，那后来呢，他就备受尊崇。He joined the children's choir at St. Stephen's Cathedral and left the choir when his voice changed. 他有在合唱团里面演唱，一直到变声为止。So the turning point of his life is when he met the opera composer Porpola. Haydn served as a complement, and he also taught Haydn composition techniques. 就是他这一个帮 Porpola 弹伴奏，也教他怎么作曲。And also he met Ferrielli, the famous castelletto singer in Europe. 那他也遇到了一位当时非常颇具盛名的阉人歌手 Ferrielli. So the wealthy and also the powerful Prince Esterhazy of Hungary hired Haydn as the court music director. 那后来成为宫廷乐长。He worked at the palace for 30 years, managed the orchestra, church choir, opera, and wind band. In 1809, Haydn died at the age of 77 during Napoleon attack on Vienna. 1809年才过世，总共活了77岁。So he particularly kind to the orchestra members. Hence, everyone gave him this nickname for Papa Haydn. 因为非常非常的客气，所以大家就叫他爸爸，海顿爸爸。He was a good friend of Mozart. Totally, he wrote 104 symphonies, 83 string quartets, 67 trio, 31 piano trio, 20 operas, and 13 masses. Okay? So here comes Haydn's scandal. Haydn married to this lady, Maria Anna Apollonia Pallet, it's a long name, when he was 28 years old. She was 3 years older than Haydn, with a plain appearance, 一般般的长相, extravagant, 很奢华, mean, boring and noisy, 就是一个不太讨喜的太太. So, he even used Haydn's manuscript as a pad for pastries or curl his hairs. 拿这个手稿来当发卷或是烤面包. So this couple, they had no children. She died when Haydn was 68. Okay, scandal part 2. He had an affair with this lady, Luigia Pontelli, Haydn's mistress. So the mezzo-soprano who served the Esterhazy family, she was 28 years younger than Haydn. Although her singing was not that outstanding, but Haydn still composed many arias for her. She is also said to have an illegitimate child for Haydn. Part 3. The second mistress is Mariana von Götzinger. Her husband is Prince Esterhazy's doctor. She is a talented musician. Haydn was fascinated by her and often corresponded with her. Mistress number 3, Rebecca Schroeter. So this socialite Haydn met when his visit to London. 是伦敦的贵妇 Rebecca wrote many love letters to Haydn. So Haydn copied the contents of the love letter into his diary. He also revealed to his friends that if he was still single at the time, he would marry Rebecca. But during the time, divorce was not allowed, okay? So I will show you this piece called Clock Symphony. So you need to think, why does this piece got the nickname called Clock? Because of tick-tock sound. And Symphony number 101 is Clock, composed in 1793 to 1794. Haydn has several well-known symphonies, including Farewell, Surprise, and Army. So he composed symphonies this number during his first visit to London, and then last till the 104 during his second visit to London. So the rhythmic accompaniment of the second movement resembles the clock. Okay. And then this is the other piece called The Surprise, composed during his visit to London. It's a huge hit in London. So the audience will often fall asleep during the concerts. So in the second movement, there's a loud noise shock people who were sleeping, and the symphony served as a reminder to the audience, you need to stay awake. Okay, it marked the sforzando SF as you need to play loud suddenly. Okay, another piece. So this is Haydn's trumpet concerto in E flat major. When you watch the Squid Game, when they are waking up, they will play these songs, okay? It was written in 1796 during his late life. The piece was composed for his friend, trumpet player Anton Wedinger, who invented the trumpet with keys. Before, there were no keys, no pitch, so the pitch need to be controlled by the mouse. So Wedinger invented the keys, so you could play by your hand, fingering, not your mouse. So the melody is light, lively, and cheerful for this piece. Okay, then we will move forward to the Mozart. He is a composer, pianist, violinist. He was born in Austria. His father is a composer and teacher. He is the 7th child in the family. He got this title, music prodigy, because he got the super memory. So he touring in Europe. He even have 2 concerts per day. he once confessed his love to the most beautiful queen of Austria, Maria Antoinette. Okay, she is beheaded French queen. Her husband is Louis XVI. 路易十六，他先生路易十六。Okay, this is Mozart and his family. The love. So Mozart served as the court musician in Salzburg, but quitted during disagreement with the bishop of Salzburg. So he fell in love with his cousin Maria Anna Thekla Mozart, which was opposed by his father. So he also fell in love with second daughter of the Weber, who was a rising star in the opera world. But his father was refused to this relationship. Then when they had to Vienna, Mozart married to Constanza Weber, the third daughter of Weber, despite his father's objection. But she is a stigmatized woman, not good at household and always spending money. So those couple were married for 9 years, and totally they got 6 children, but only 2 survive. He has a large amount of debt, so Constanza need to get along and sell much property. So when Mozart died, she was only 29 years old and helped to organize and publish the complete work of Mozart. Then he got his second marriage with a Danish diplomat. The life of Mozart. So he's a good friend with Haydn, but the luxurious life leads to insufficient income and increasing poverty. So his health has been declining by 1971. So he even saw the messengers from the hell. Okay, he died before his 36th birthday. Because of the poverty, he was buried in a poor cemetery. He got many works, concerto, mass, opera, and sonata. So, where does this song come from? Okay, this is the Twinkle Little Star, the variations composed at the age of 25 of Mozart. It adapted from the French folk song called I Will Tell You Mama. So the original name is not Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, okay? So the original meaning of the lyrics is the young girl who fell in love with the boys. So she will confess her relationship to her mom. Okay, and this was adapted to the nursery rhyme. Totally, it got 12 variations. Okay. All right. So this is the Zauber flute, the magic flute. It was composed 1 year before his death. This is his last opera. He was very poor and sick. So the materials from German fairy tale, Lulu's Magic Flute. So this is a victory over the evil. And the priest, the last role versus the queen of the night. So the role includes the Papageno, Papagena, Prince Tamino, Princess Pamina, queen of the night. And the story took place in Egypt. Tamino brought magic fruit, stick, and bird catcher to save Pamina. So he uncovered the true face of the Queen of the Night. So the Queen of the Night, she got those coloratura singing of early 18th century. And these characters sort of alluding to his mother-in-law. 好，在暗喻他的岳母了。The horrible women. So this is the Queen of the Night. And the new discovery of Mozart. A library discovers Mozart's unpublished trio. So the sheet music is hidden inside a book. So it was composed in his early adolescence year in 1760. So totally it got 7 movements, 12 minutes. And it is called Ganz Klein Nach Mosaic. So 是非常小夜曲. So after about 260 years, it was officially released in 2024. Okay. All right. So I am going to let's talk about the Beethoven. Okay. I'm going to stop here, and then we'll talk about Beethoven next time. Okay.